Welcome to Geopolitics in Conflict show. My name is Dr. David Oualaalou.
My name is Dr. Ross Stewart. And today we're going to be talking about President Biden's approach to Yemen. And we're going to be talking about the morality of the U.S. involvement and selling arms to Saudi Arabia. What do you think of that, David? Because I know that you spent actually a couple of years in Yemen as a consultant to the government.
Well, that's an interesting topic, Ross. And yes, it came up now in the conversations in Washington as to what the United States moral standing regarding the ongoing slaughters that's taking place in Yemen by the Saudis and the Emiratis using Americans and British weapons.
I understand the atrocities are endless.
They are indeed, and we have been supporting the Saudis for the last 4 years or so in this conflict by not only providing weapons but also providing intelligence. We even providing our own officers to run the war, and that's usually this is why the President Biden wants to put an end to it. Well, not too fast. President Biden is saying, no, we're not going to sell the offensive weapon, but we still can sell the defensive weapons to the Saudis. The Saudis are not going to differentiate between the two. They're just going to use whatever. So, as one who spent many years in Yemen in support of the United States government at the time, and also we did some consulting there on certain projects, Yemen is one of the poorest countries in the Arab world. They just don't have much. But also what's interesting about Yemen now is it becomes the proxy between Saudi Arabia and Iran.
What a predicament to be in.
Exactly. And this is where you see the geopolitical shifts in the Middle East, because you got many interest groups are now interested in how this is going to be playing out. So for the amount of atrocities the Saudis have committed, and for us, the Americans, have turned a blind eye on that, shame on us. I will say it as an American, it is shameful to have witnessed what I noticed and what I saw with the atrocities the Saudis have committed. I do understand you draw the line between the profits, business profit, whatever, but I also understand moral standing when you are selling very destructive weapons in the hand of the Saudis that, I can't trust them with this kind of weapons because they don't differentiate between who, or who's who, that is.
Exactly.
And that is problematic in a sense of, now you're hearing the Biden administration saying that they're going to stop selling weapons. However, Britain decided not to. The UK is moving forward with selling weapons to the Saudis and the United Arab Emirates. And it's sad enough to see that the slaughter is going on in Yemen. It's very, very painful. As I said, I spent time in Yemen. Wonderful people, very hospitable, and just laid back country because they don't have much. And but just where we are regarding the weapon sales, that should be addressed. I mean, they should. The U.S. government should address this kind of issues.
May I again quote one of my favorite authors?
Certainly.
Fall of the House of Saud.
You mean the House of Saud?
Saud? Another theory explains why the Saudis keep purchasing weapons, especially from the United States. That theory presupposes the Saudis' conviction that the United States will not object to where and how Saudi Arabia deploys those weapons and uses them. In Yemen, for example, Saudi Arabia is still engaged in a 3-year-old military intervention that shows no sign of abating.
And that is exactly when, we turn in a blind eye as to the atrocities that have been committed, and yet we stand for human rights and we stand for certain ethical standards that usually what distinguishes us from the rest. And yet when it comes down to this, because there are massive profits in line, So we become, are we directed by greed more so than our principles? No, it's a sad state of
I
affairs.
think the answer is unfortunate.
It is indeed. It really pains me. It pains me to, I've been watching and I'm keeping an eye on what's going on in Yemen. I wrote so many articles about that one. It really pains me because I've been there. I've been on the ground. I saw what it's like. And it's not a pretty picture. Most Americans have no clue that the conflict, we are the one contributing to it.
Do you see any reasonable solution to it?
Well, right now, the Biden administration trying to push both the Saudis and the Houthis to come to some sort of negotiations. What's factual is this. What Yemen to Saudi Arabia is what Vietnam was to the United States.
Oh, no.
It's
What
a reality.
A mess.
It is a mess, and it is a fact that the world's still rolling up the red carpets to the Saudis because of the massive weapon purchases. At the same time, for all the right reasons for when the West needs to stand up and say enough is enough, they couldn't do that.
For those of us that are participating via this video, what would you say is important for them to pay attention to?
Well, it's just to understand that the longer this conflict drags on, the more we are being involved in it indirectly. And at the same time, for us to be involved in any sort of conflict, we'll draw resources from home because you're going to have to devote and provide the resources to sustain or support whatever activities you're doing around the world. Well, where are you going to get these resources from? You're going to have to take them away from domestic programs and use them for that. That's one of the issues. As far as an average citizen here in the U.S., including you, no. Most Americans, as we said earlier, do not know about the conflict in itself because the media here in the United States is not reporting on it. Whether that's by design or by default, that's remained to be seen.
As I've attempted to follow this closely, I've found it virtually impossible to get at the real issues that you've explained here today.
Well, that's the whole reason, Ross, why we like to do this show, because we like to bring facts and information to our viewers, but let them make their own decisions. They can search, they can read, they can whatever. We're just providing accurate information. We're not trying to sway minds here or change minds or advocate this for that. We're not.
Hopefully this has given you some perspective on what's going on in the Middle East. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Also be sure to check out our other videos. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.
And as always, stay informed. Till next time. Bye-bye.